way too much damage. Stop him with the block! He fell charged.
And he found
wow.
Wow.
Oh, what?
Somewhere there's a covert muffin just applauding this seed.
Holy crap.
Oh man, this is gonna come down to execution in the final escape, isn't it?
Sure is.
Every seed
Our
does.
favorite phrase.
Hello and welcome back everyone to the 2021 Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer tournament. This is the first match out of 5 happening today, and just a heads up, the next ones will be in just about 2 hours, one in just about 3 hours, in 7 hours, and the last one will be in roughly 9 hours, so the whole day is just packed with Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer. And if you want to watch it, just stay tuned. 4 out of these 5 races will happen on this very same channel, with the last one at 5 p.m. EDT happening on over at SpeedGaming 3. And this first one of the day, Xemsys versus Terra, is actually a very exciting one. My name is To Kill, and joined on commentary I am today by Liftoff. Liftoff, how are you doing?
Hey Tuko, I'm doing really good. I'm very excited to see this race, to see these two runners face off. They're two very skilled runners. Yeah, they're going to be starting in about a minute, but we'll be using that minute to quickly tell you a little about the two runners. I'll start with Xemsys. He is our number 5 seed coming out of the preliminaries. He only played 7 matches, but got seed 5 with that, so that's very good, and he's very happy with that. He started playing Rando at the end of the last tournament in 2018, has put in a lot of time in the randomizer, is very knowledgeable about many insane strats, and he's hoping he has the chance to show some of them off today. He's hoping for a fast seed, and but most of all, he wants a fun seed where nobody gets randoed. What can you tell me about Terra, Tukill?
Yeah, Terra has been around the randomizer for the longest time. He's also just developed so many techniques currently used in the randomizer, and if we stumble across some of them, we will see how they go. However, he took a break from the randomizer and only returned for the tournament. So although he is a very good player, Xemsys definitely has the edge. So far, we will see how much Terra got in these few weeks since the tournament started. I'm definitely excited to see what both of our runners have in store for us. This will be definitely a close match, and I'm not hoping for any of the runners to get randoed. I just want to see both of them heading head to head. And as we're about to head into the race, what do you think will be our first pickup?
I would really like an early dash, like a dash on the first pickup that lets both of these runners really show off how skilled they are. Xemsys has wished for stomp cancels, so that would be the first step in that direction, and it would just be an amazing thing to watch. These two highly skilled runners show off all the cool things you can do with dash in this game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Dash is one of the funniest things to watch for me as well in the randomizer, so I would be very happy. It's an energy cell. That's always nice to find some early resources in the randomizer. Energy especially lets you save wherever you want on the map, and you can use it for some tricks. You can also use it for empowering dashes, but we will get to that later if it turns out to be relevant, as both of our runners are heading to the second non-randomized pickup here. That is the light we will pick up momentarily. That will be our main fighting skill in the game, and it would just be rude to randomize this. But besides this, at the first energy cell, or second energy cell actually in this race they collected, basically everything we will pick up is randomized. We will just get some text and let's see what our first kind of progression is here, as both of our runners are alt-Ring here.
Alt-R is a maybe we should explain that real quick. It's just a bind that has been added to the randomizer to warp back to the beginning of the game to prevent soft locks and to speed up things.
Yeah, we will definitely see our runners use that whenever they are in situations that they can't easily get out, or whenever they feel like routing can benefit from it. They are getting 2 keystones, so they can open this door, which will unlock a few more pickups. As Xemsys is checking this underwater pickup, gets a lot of XP, as Terra does as well. This could indicate that clean water, which would put this in logic, is very fairly buried. And there's our first dungeon key, the water vein. Both of our runners wave it off with showing off their last pickup, as they are excited to find it. That does now mean that it is not on map zone 9. That would have been funny, but I think both of our runners are glad to find it early. So do you want to talk about dungeon keys maybe a bit?
Yeah, we can still hope for Sunstone on map zone 8. But in general, there are two dungeon keys in this game that we absolutely need to complete the seed. There's the water vein, which we just found. It gives access to the Ginso tree, and then there's the Sunstone, which gives access to Mount Horu, where the end of the game is located. I think it's kind of obvious why we need to get there, but why do we need to get to the Ginso tree to kill? What's so special about that?
First of all, our runners found charge jump. That is a very good skill to find early. It gives you a lot of verticality. And now coming back to the trees, as they are fairly vertical, we need to go to all 10 vanilla skill tree locations, including the bash tree, as you alluded to. That is located in the Ginso tree. So we definitely need to go there. And yeah, there is a third dungeon, the Forlorn Ruins, that does not hold any kind of interesting things for now. It does have kind of a clue system for 2 abilities, but we will hope that our runners don't need it, as Xemsys is doing some shenanigans with Save Anywhere here just to get movement during this cutscene. As you could see, he collected that energy cell while in the cutscene, even alt-art, and is now checking that pickup to the right while not seeing where exactly he is. He is a bit to the right, as Terra is using that charge jump to quickly get up again to make some more checks here in the Spirit Caverns.
This is very impressive. Xem did an energy glitch without actually seeing what he did. An energy glitch is when you enter the area during which you can put energy into an energy door, and then put an energy into the door on the last frame before you leave the range of the door, which causes an energy to get stuck in there, and then he can return later with 3 more energy to fill the door with 4 energy and open it. And it's a very difficult trick to do, even if you see what you're doing. So it's very impressive to me that Xemsys managed that so quickly without actually seeing what he was doing, because the camera was still locked onto the wall jump tree that he had picked up earlier. Very impressive from him.
Yeah, and we also see our first divergence, Xemsys on the left heading into Blackroot Burrows, and Terra checking these Spirit Caverns checks right here. Found 4 energy, so he does not need to do the glitch Xemsys did. But of course, Xemsys, having that done already, can return to that later. This is a very slow area normally, but having charge jump just makes all of these jumps basically free, and you can get all these pickups in very easily. He will even use that charge jump instead of alt-Ring to get back up, and has now to do some more auto-scrollers in this section, and that is why it's normally not easy to speed this up. With charge jump, he can get to this platform without taking any kind of risks here. As Terra is now following his steps, he will also, as Xemsys did earlier, probably skip this cutscene with a save anywhere, just to, well, not have to watch that cutscene. That is always very good in speedruns. Is setting up for it here. We basically trick the game into thinking that we have saved while not actually having saved, and by skilling an ability, you then save wherever you want, for example, by the beginning of a cutscene, as Terra now demonstrated and skipped this cutscene.
One thing that is maybe notable, Xem is coming up onto something that you would normally skip with a save anywhere at this point, but because Xem did a save anywhere to do blind movement during the collection of the wall jump tree, he does not actually have an ability point to do so, so he's going to check this Crusher's XP. and get a lot of XP out of it. This levels him up, gives him an ability point to skip the cutscene. Nice heads up play to notice that he has no ability points and to not lock himself into this animation. We saw a lot of experience behind the crushers. This is again something similar to what you mentioned earlier, where we found a lot of XP underwater. To access that pickup, we need dash in standard logic, and the fact that there was a lot of XP behind it tells us that it's probably going to be a while before our runners are going to see dash.
Yeah, and on the right, Terra just showed why heading into burrows with Blackroot burrows with just 3 or 4 health cells can be quite tricky, because all the spikes deal 3 damage in the pit, and he just died to that. Was just a minor death, as Xemsys also now got his 4th in logic energy cell, so there's definitely a lot of energy to collect as he now glitches this lever open to stay permanently open, and is heading into the boulder escape area. There's 1 pickup in logic that he can collect, but oh, actually some more, because he can just jump over the boulder and get to the rest of the pickups, and by dodging these boulders. As Terra is also now approaching his 2nd tree with the dash tree. On the 3rd tree we will actually get a hint to where one of the dungeon keys is. We will hopefully not get the water vein clue, as we already know where the water vein is, but this is of course also randomized, so we will see once our players head to their 3rd tree what that clue is.
Xemsys has picked up a health cell on a vanilla health cell, so that's always nice when that happens. This area is actually not in logic because they had to do difficult movement over the crushers, which is not in logic without dash, but I don't think that's going to stop any of our runners from doing it. It allows you to get access to the teleporter, which makes coming back to Blackroot Burrows, which they will have to do at least once because there's another tree further down here, and it makes coming back there a lot easier. So it's generally something most runners will do when they're in the area anyway. Meanwhile, Xemsys, he has the ability to open the 4 energy door that he energy glitched earlier, but since he has no way of interacting with walls, he cannot actually go through there because there is a pool of water in there and that he cannot leave. So he's going to be heading over to the left to go through the Spirit Caverns area that Terra did earlier, and he has enough keystones, unlike Terra did at that point, to head out of that area through the top and reach the Spirit Tree and the Charge Flame Tree, where he will, as you discussed, get his 3rd tree and his first clue of the seed. And let's hope it's for the Sunstone, because we already have the Water Vein, and we're hoping that we don't need the Gumon Seal.
Yeah, definitely. They are both basically at the moment checking pickups. The other person is checked already. They are basically toe-to-toe, or head-to-head rather. Xemsys is checking this 4 energy door. This is a pickup that is very slow to get normally, but with the skills they have, they can definitely speed it up. It is in logic because they have the charge jump, and it's oftentimes not checked by a lot of runners, so Xemsys might just make sure to not get randomized here, to not have something important on this 1 pickup that blocks him from going further. So he's checking it. We've also already seen 2 map stones from both of our players. Map stones kind of in this game work progressively, as in the first map stone, regardless of where you put it in, will always grant the same thing, and in this case both the first map stones just gave a bit of experience. For now, no further progression, but charge jump, as discussed earlier, is a very powerful skill to get around. As you can see, just a lot of things you can do with it. You can open that door here. Xemsys is setting up another save anywhere to skip the cutscene to get the teleporter, so he will not be able to use it, but he will be able to to get over it basically. And I don't think he had an ability cell there and was got that 100 XP. The last check that is not randomized, because it will always be 100 XP, because there's some weird things happening with reloading and sometimes it's not there, to just make sure he has an ability point, and yeah, we'll now lure this Frankie.
And as we can see, Xemsys entering entering the charge flame area with Terra hot on his heels, we can see that Xemsys routing has worked out a little better through the early game than Terra's, because Terra had to do Spirit Caverns twice. That's basically the only thing between them. They've done the same checks, and it's been a very linear seed so far, so there hasn't really been much in the way of divergence. And there's wall jump. That's wall interaction, and Xemsys is going to take that through the 4 energy door to the right of spawn after he's going to check this one pickup. It has been kind of notorious in this tournament so far for having progression on it very often, and he does want to make sure that he doesn't get ran out by this one pickup, so he's taking the time, the half a minute or what it takes to check this one and to make sure that it doesn't hold the progression while he's going off to the right. Just a keystone this time. Terra did skip it, and he's like 10 seconds ahead because of that by now. But that pickup might be in the back of Terra's mind, and he might come back for it in the future if he doesn't find any progression quick here in this grotto area that he's heading towards.
Yeah, and as both of our runners have collected their third tree, we also saw that the first clue, unfortunately, was the water vein clue, so we either have to wait for the 6th or even the 9th tree to know where our sunstone is, where to dig for that. This was basically implemented to make sure that people don't have to run over the entire map, search every pickup just to find that one thing that you need. So the clues will basically give you a basic area where to find what you're looking for. And depending on where that sunstone is, we might need some more skills to get there. But with the skills that they have, there's a lot of things they can do. They don't have blue breakage just yet. There's a lot of things hidden in what we call plants or behind walls that you need something to break for. As both of our runners are now heading into Moon Grotto to possibly find that next piece of progression. Moon Grotto being a very dense area.
Yes, and Xemsys finds Bash. That's huge. That's the most powerful skill in the game. He has 2 of the 3 most powerful skills, just missing Dash. And knowing how skilled Xemsys is in using Bash, and especially a glitch known as double bashing, I would not be surprised if he needs very few other pickups before he considers himself in go mode and starts skipping stuff and just rushing down those trees to get that sunstone clue. Once you have Bash and charge jump, you really don't need much else to be able to finish the seed if you're as skilled as these 2 runners are.
Have you seen what is on the vanilla water vein here?
I saw it, the Gumon seal. But
yeah,
maybe even more important is the fact that Terra actually skipped that Bash pickup, and that is a huge advantage for Xemsys at this point. It's an often skipped pickup, not a bad call necessarily to skip it, because there's a plant below it that you really want to just go there once. But Xemsys went there, and it definitely paid off. So I would say he's very clearly in the advantage at this point in time.
Yeah, and depending on when they get that blue breakage, as you mentioned, it could take Terra a while to check that. If this is the next piece of progression they need to get to more areas of the game, Xemsys definitely has the advantage right now over Terra, as they are both here in the same area, kind of giving each other a high-five, a very close race up until this point, just in terms of what they've checked. And of course, unfortunately, Terra didn't check this one pickup that contained Bash. This, of course, has never happened before in a randomizer. Xemsys setting up for a drop here, where you basically make sure to drop with the stone together just to not die to that instant death laser. As Terra, I'm not sure which version he took, but yeah, he took the vanilla way or basically kind of the vanilla way to shove the stone, as Xemsys also now got it. They both get rewarded with just some experience. Xemsys decides to not keep that and look somewhere else for further progression.
One notable thing that we kind of skipped earlier because there was a lot happening, but Terra actually messed up the bridge skip that Xemsys did, and he doesn't have the Gumon seal either. Probably not going to be relevant The Gumon Seal does not house a skill location, so it's fairly rare to see the runners go there, and most people don't do it if they can avoid it. But that's another thing where Xemsys might have the advantage if that becomes necessary, like maybe the clue being that the Sunstone happens to be in the Forlorn Ruins. In that case, that Gumon Seal would definitely be advantageous for him.
Yeah, and talking about things people normally avoid doing, Terra on the right just did this mini-boss that can be really slow with the skills they have. It's definitely a quick check, as you saw, it just evaporated. Unfortunately, held only Keystone, I believe, so nothing advantageous at this point in time. Xemsys is now heading to that next tree, the double jump tree. Will be tree number 4 for both of our players, and we will see where they decide to go next. Yeah, nothing of importance in the area just yet. And yeah, there was nothing else there. They got another mapstone though, and both runners are already on 3 out of 9 mapstones, which makes me wonder whether there is something important on mapstones. I'm not too sure if they have access to just another map pedestal to turn that in, but that is definitely a map count that is noticeable. But we've definitely seen seats in this tournament where there were a lot of mapstones in the early game and they didn't turn out to be anything useful. So let's see whether our runners decide to check more mapstones. Both of them have turned in all their mapstones they've got so far, so I'm sure none of them wants to get rendered over some mapstones.
Yes, Xemsys is heading over here. He's not going to do... Yeah, he can't do lower swamp entry, so I think he's going to go up top around the swamp loop and then do the upper swamp entry using Ringo the Frog. He can also put in another mapstone in there. It's not in logic to do that specific trick. It's a difficult one, but I know Xemsys is very comfortable with it, and he is a very aggressive player, always going towards trees when he has the opportunity to do so. So I would be surprised if he took a different play, and it seems I am going to be surprised because he's going to head left into Grove Main. Did not see that one coming. But look to the right where Terra is. This is huge for him. He's going to pick up Bash, and even though he's bled a little bit of time not having access to Bash and the awesome functionality it provides, he's now at least back on skill parity with Xem. So that's nice for him.
Yeah, and Xem on the left also turned in the 4th mapstone. It was a mapstone, so yeah, you could decide to turn in even a 5th one. And also, what can happen is that our runners could forget they have Water Vein. We will see whether Xemsys will head into the Ginso tree. This is definitely a play that is possible. There's a lot of pickups in the Ginso tree that they can check. There's one they can't, and especially early on with the plant. But they got that Water Vein very early. They got the skills to go through there. So this is definitely a very good play by Xemsys to head here and make checks along the way. And yeah, we will see whether there is something important here, as Terra is now heading to the area Xem just was. Is deciding to not go there just yet, skips a cutscene here to not activate the lasers, and will make his way in the swamp loop as Xemsys finds yet another energy cell. If they ever find Dash, this will definitely be an important pickup because charge dashing, which is one way to level up Dash, costs energy, so yeah, definitely important to have a lot of energy, and just in general, having a lot of resources is always nice.
Meanwhile, on the right, Terra is doing the trick that I speculated about earlier, called Swamp Entry. Well, no, he's checking a couple of pickups, and then he's going to do Swamp Entry, I would assume. While Xem is making short work, semi-short work, of a mini-boss in Ginso. And this trick that Terra is doing over here on the right, very interesting one. It was actually found in the randomizer in the early days and has since been found to be faster than other strategies in the vanilla speedrun and added to the main speedrun of this game. So that's a nice randomizer history fact, and an interesting way that the randomizer has influenced other parts of how this game is run.
Yeah, on the left, Xemsys has checked the last few keystones. He actually got another keystone, now has 4 more, so if he decides to maybe do the Ginso escape, he gets climb on the bash tree. That is huge, especially in combination with charge jump. That allows him to use climb charge jump, which basically is a charge jump in any direction off of a wall. So definitely happy of that, about that. And we are now 2 out of 3 for a frame perfect trick called grenade jump. So Xemsys will definitely be happy if he finds that, and he decides to continue up further in Ginso. Definitely a good play, as there are a lot of pickups he can check here that are relatively easy to check. So he will make quick work of them, getting that energy cell here, as Terra on the right is collecting his 5th tree, being the Stomp tree. So we have seen 6 trees, although Bash and Stomp on different runners. As Xem is checking these keystones here, we will see whether he decides to go further up with the keystones he has or not. He is deciding to go further up. This is exciting. We might actually get a Ginso escape here, and using that Ginso escape, he could also easily get to the Stomp tree that Terra just got to, although he now does not have any keystones left, so possibly worried about that. Just taking the teleporter to teleport back to some other place to check more pickups here.
The reason that I think that I would assume that Xemsys went up there and took this teleporter is he does not have the Sunstone clue yet, and it is highly possible that the Sunstone is in the higher parts of Ginso, and it's really convenient to have the teleporter to return there, because if he hadn't gotten that, he would have had to retread the entirety of the Ginso tree from the bottom up to the teleporter to continue his search there, and he really wants to prevent that. I'm sure he's going to find some other keystones in the world. There's lots of keystones hidden throughout the world, and if he doesn't find enough for his tastes, he can always dupe them using a trick called a key dupe. Yeah, go ahead.
We will also, on Xemsys' side on the left, soon get our 6th tree, so our next clue, and that could either be the Mount Horu dungeon key clue or for the Fallen Ruins. We will of course hope for the Sunstone, but we will see what the seed provides to us. As Terra is probably now heading into Ginso as well, we'll get his climb soon, because the tree is definitely a thing he wants to check. Also has 7 keystones, so that is not a count he's worried about. But eyes on the left, we will get our next clue and our next skill, Stomp. And never mind, we don't get a new clue. It was the Gumon Seal clue. So the seed just trolling us, getting us the dungeon keys, and then the clues for them. That's just rude.
Indeed. But Stomp is a very nice pickup. It gives Xemsys very easy access to the left side of the map, where 3 of the 4 trees that he is still missing are located. He could have already gotten there with Bash, but it involves a fairly difficult trick that I'm sure Xemsys is comfortable, but not having to do the trick is still faster, so I'm sure he's glad that he's found that. And Stomp is a pickup that uniquely locks some... Stomp is a skill that uniquely locks some pickups, and the Sunstone could still be locked by that, so he's going to be happy that he found that. But of course, there's no way that Terra is going to skip it, because it is on a tree that he's going to have to collect anyway once he heads down there, which I assume won't take long after he finds Climb.
Yeah, definitely. And on the right, we just saw Terra head into the Ginso tree. We will know what he finds here, but we will see how far up he heads. He could decide to just go out again after the tree. Of course, we know there is nothing further up until the teleporter. He could also decide to go to the teleporter, or he could decide to do the entirety of the Ginso tree, including the escape. But since he's already got Stomp, I don't think he will go for that. Instead, we will see how far up he goes, as Xemsys is heading into Valley. will attempt a trick here that he's setting up a safety save here, a backup save. Ah, yes, this is basically he will use the momentum of the jump after the he's doing some hyperspeed here. Didn't quite get far enough up, so is I think doing the manual way. I'm not too sure what the setup is here, so
He's trying to do the frog lure variant of this, where you skip the kill plane, and he got it. So what happened there is that there are two cutscenes that can play there. One when you first enter this big room, and one when you get a little deeper into it. One cutscene shows you that big bird Kuro over there. The other one has Kuro sweep down to kill you. But if you stack the two cutscenes, you are invincible while in the cutscene, and the bird cannot actually kill you, and you can move freely through this area that normally has the kill plane and insta kills you the moment you get too far away from this teleporter. And Xem is going to use this to scale up Valley to the very top, where there are a couple of rocks sitting above Kuro's head that he can break to remove the kill plane entirely. And he just took a death, and that's really bad, because dying in this glitched kill plane state is not something that you want to do. And Xem decides to just abandon all these kill plane shenanigans altogether. He's just going to head along the right side of Valley. He can check a couple of pickups there and reach the rocks above Kuro's head that way. That's definitely a bit of a time loss and will allow Terra to catch up a little.
yeah, Terra on the right still trailing behind. Just got his climb along with his sixth tree. So he now knows where the Gummon seal is as well. Not like he did know that before. Xemsys, funnily enough, finds the Valley teleporter in Valley, like not even 100 meters or like really close to the actual teleporter. So this is quite funny as Terra decides not to open the door and not to take the teleporter in the Ginso tree. In case Sunstone turns out to be here, that could definitely play a role right here. And also I realized that Stomp was actually dash locked because you were not expected to get to that tree without dash. So that could maybe mean that our runners will find dash after all, or well, you need to go get it to get to the tree anyway. So I'm not sure, but Terra is actually heading there, so he will get his stomp as well, and we can definitely see that the climb charge jump is useful to break these floors as well. So yeah, Xem only has one keystone as we get a note. Now actually collected to second. So that will be very happy for him. Collects another one. I just need to mention keystones and he finds them. So very nice there. As Terra is checking some more pickups here in lower Blackroot Burrows before heading to his tree. So we will see whether he finds anything useful here.
Xem, yes, Xem still needs 6 more keystones, probably, to finish out the seed. Unless he finds Sora TP, in which case it's only 2. So I think he's going to definitely be still checking pickups to find those. Terra hasn't found much in the lower BRB area. He did pick up a health cell that he's going to keep. So he ult out of there, and he's going to teleport back down there. So he seems a little bit indecisive. No, he's deciding it's not worth the backtracking after all. He's already on a decent amount of health, so he's just going to let it stay the way that it is. Xem is currently checking this outer swamp loop that Terra checked before heading into the Stomp area tree, and I assume he's going to do the same after he's checked these pickups. Though he, of course, is not going to have to do that difficult swamp entry trick because he has charge jump and stomp, and he can just break the floors, one by stomping, one by charge jumping, and that is going to be definitely faster than what Terra did.
Yeah, and he got rewarded with another keystone in this area, so definitely happy to see that. And there's another 21 experience pickup. Experience, of course, also randomized, but we saw 2 of them already in the lower grotto vault in both of the pickups, so definitely a number that is great to see. And the swamp teleporter in the swamp, the teleporters are just trolling the seed. This is very funny to watch, as Xemsys currently has 4 keystones, so he can definitely comfortably open up this door. Might need to key duplicate in the Sorrow Pass, but that is a relatively doable thing, although the skills he currently has does not make it as easy as, for example, Glide would make it. Is now using charge jump and climb to get up here to his stomp tree that we already saw Terra get. Will be his 8th tree, so one more. I'm pretty sure it will be the Misty tree before he heads into Sorrow Pass, just to make sure. Yeah, that he gets from Misty already. As Terra is now checking that far off pickup in Grotto. This is not a pick, not one we usually see, but Terra mentioned before that he does not want to get rendoed and wants to be thorough with his check to make sure that maybe Xem does get rendoed, and yeah, finds a keystone for his trouble, decides to keep it, but definitely not the advantage he was looking for there.
Yeah. It looks like Terra is going to be heading over to the left side now as well. Meanwhile, Xemsys is back in Valley, and he's doing another one of those hyperspeed save anywheres. As you can see, if you do a charge jump off a wall and save during it, you basically get a burst of speed, much like a grenade jump. And Xemsys uses that to cross the gap into Misty and finds double jump at the very first pickup. So I think this is most definitely go mode for him. It's been a while, but this just seals the deal. This gives him huge maneuverability in the air. Probably makes Glide obsolete at this point. I think Xemsys has everything he needs to close out the seed. He just needs to find out where that Sunstone is hiding, and then I'm sure he's going to beeline straight towards that location and the missing tree and close the seed out in very short order. I would say Xemsys is most definitely ahead at this point, and Terra has been playing well, but Xemsys' aggression in rushing trees has just been serving him very well.
Yeah, also his execution was just very good, using all the abilities, using these hyperspeed maneuvers as well. And funnily enough, he's also found extra double jump earlier before, and I believe he also has skilled triple jump, so he actually has like 4 jumps at this point. So maneuvering through the air is definitely, as you can see, just very funny to watch. Ori just rolling over themselves, going crazy. As Terra checked Glazer as well. This is this one-off pickup that we saw Xemsys doing, so he's very concerned about logic at the moment, is a bit confused maybe where to head next. Maybe still searching for that dash that we didn't find, not comfortable maybe heading to the grenade tree because we didn't see him go there yet. He just checked the lower BRB checks and headed out again, so definitely one thing that he missed so far. As eyes on the left, Xemsys is approaching his 9th tree. We will find out where the Sunstone is momentarily as he's waving his mouse around it. And the Sunstone is in Ginso! That is huge for Xemsys, actually.
Yeah, his earlier play of getting the teleporter definitely paying off. Terra is going to be kicking himself once he gets that clue and realizes that he has to redo the entire bottom 2/3 of Ginso. Yeah, there's not a lot of pickups left in the Ginso tree. There's 2 in the upper left room, there's 1 in the upper right room, which Xemsys cannot get because he still has not found a way to break blue plants. There's also the plants at the very bottom of the Ginso tree, which he also could not collect for a similar reason, so he's going to be hoping that the Sunstone is going to be one of the pickups that he can access.
And
Meanwhile,
there's
speaking
Terra
of
finding
breakage,
Charge Flame.
Terra finds Charge Flame.
Yeah, that is definitely blue breakage, as you mentioned. If it is maybe the far bottom, never mind. Sunstone is in something that is not hidden by blue breakage. So Xemsys definitely is in go mode now. I'm pretty sure he feels comfortable doing everything he needs to do. He just needs to be careful. He only has 3 keystones, so he either needs to duplicate his keys which is not an easy task with the abilities he has or the skills he has right now. So we will see how he decides to go about that. Maybe search for another keystone as we see him do it right now. Checking some more picks. As Terra is now heading back to Grotto. There's a lot of plants in Grotto that he can check now, and I'm not sure what would give him enough to just get back in the race right here. I'm not sure what Sam is doing. Maybe he forgot that he has to do one more tree, but he showed it off, or he wants to check some pickups here.
I think this is a smart play from Xem. What he is doing is he knows that he has to go this path to Horu anyway at some point, so he might as well go there, grab the 4 pickups around the teleporter. That is a very dense area, and the chances aren't bad that one of them is a keystone, which means that Xem can skip having to dupe or check any pickups in Sorrow Pass. Would be my assumption.
Definitely a heads-up play if this is what he's thinking. Yeah, he's heading to the left to check that one pickup. Did nice cutscene movement again. Just some experience, hoping for another keystone, of course. And with that sandstone in his possession, there can definitely be keystones here. Keystones can just hide everywhere, basically. Now, I think I didn't see which teleporter he clicked on, but
he went to
it's
Valley.
the Valley teleporter. So he's maybe hoping to find one more keystone in Sorrow. Let's hope for him that he does, or let's hope for Terra that he does not, in order for Terra to be able to catch up here.
If he doesn't find one, he can still do a key dupe on the lower door in Sorrow, which is fairly easy with the skill set, but it would obviously be a lot faster if he just found one on the way to where he needs to go anyway. But I'm sure that if he hasn't found a pickup by the time he's entered Sorrow, after having to do this fairly difficult trick called Sorrow Bash, there's one free pickup that I'm sure he's going to check, and if that's not a keystone, then I think he's just going to take the lower Sorrow key dupe to avoid having to do the upper room, which really wants you to have glide more than once. And there's a keystone. That's it. Xem is in full go mode. He's going to be skipping everything, just rushing that one final tree, and then taking that Horu teleporter that he activated earlier to finish the seed out as fast as he can.
Yeah, he's definitely ahead at this point. Terra's still very thoroughly checking pickups around the map, looking for that next piece of progression. We don't actually know what the logic expects from him right now, because that Storm Find from Xemsys was out of logic. He's actually setting up to get his health back to full by repeatedly dying so his save timer refreshes, and is now setting up to get through those 3 caves. They look very delicious, but they are indeed very careful. Will do a trick called Zombie Ori, where he skills an ability just in this just when he dies, will respawn with 0 health. Maybe realizes that he can do it without zombieing, so reloading that save. And by saving in the frame you die, you basically get 1 second of invulnerability that you can use to get around a bit more and continue the cycle, basically.
Yeah, this is a very difficult trick. He earlier attempted it with getting ultra defense before actually having to zombie. That didn't work out, so he loaded a smartly placed backup save that he did, and now he did it placing 1 save, allowing him to get a little further, and he now has ultra defense and he is at the tree. Gets the mega health for his trouble, putting him up to 15 health. This escape should not be a problem for him.
Yeah, definitely. At this point, I don't see how Terra can get this race anymore. So eyes on the left as Xemsys is heading to the final escape, and Terra is just checking some one-off pickups that he didn't collect earlier. Yeah, we will see whether he finds anything that Xemsys did not. well, he has that charge flame. Of course, he can check some more pickups that we didn't see from Xemsys, so there could be some progression there. As Xemsys is going for violence, I definitely appreciate that. You can either do a very precise trick to wrong warp to the final escape, or you can kill this mini boss that Xemsys is doing right now. And yeah, I always respect going for violence. It's very great, and we will see whether he checks that XP to the right of the final escape. He decides not to, totally fine, and we'll head now to the final challenge of the game, escaping from Kuro right here.
Meanwhile, while Xem is initiating the final escape, Terra has decided to give up searching for logic and is just going to the left side via a difficult Frankie double bash that Xem didn't have to do because he found Stomp, and he's going to be chopping down the remaining left side trees in very short order as well. But let's focus on Xem, whose final escape is underway. This should not be a difficult one. The first room, this room is easy. If you have bash, you can just bash off these lanterns, which Xem does. He can even skip the second one because he has quad jump at this point. Then it's through the elemental room here. He takes a bit of damage, but he should be fine. He had huge amounts of health when coming in. This room, glide helps, but double jump can do the job just fine. Now it's through the poison swim. Water is still poisonous, but he has ultra defense, so every tick of damage is just half a health cell, and he still has plenty of health left over on the other side. And now he's just ascending in the final room, bashing a couple of rocks up, and he's through. GG, that was very well played.
Yeah, GG to him as Terra on the right now collected that very memey valet TP right next to the actual teleporter, and is now attempting to get through this area. He has to do a trick called Fast Stompless in order to get those rocks destroyed that are above Kuro. He sets up his save here and is now waiting to get the perfect angle. This is a very precise trick. Decides not to go for it, but without Stomp and without the Sunstone,
He has climbed charge jump.
Yeah, he can climb charge jump off the wall, off of it. That is definitely doable. Yeah, there are a lot of ways to go around in the game. Only has 2 health, so definitely needs to be careful, as Xemsys just has to hold right for maybe another 15-20 seconds here, and then we will see his final time as Terra is heading to his next tree. Will be his 7th tree, so definitely still has a long way to go. We'll check this one pickup off to the side. I don't think Xem actually checked this.
He did not.
He decided. And we see some nice optimizations on the left of Xemsys. That is always very nice to see. Saves 15,000 years of time. Just kidding,
In
it
our
actually
hearts.
wastes time. So very great to see him pull that off, as Terra is checking this one off that has thrown off one of the races in the preliminaries. This time around it's not charge jump, but just an ability cell, and will now destroy these rocks after destroying this burb first. Doesn't get quite the right angle and gets killed by Kuro. That is very unfortunate. Can try it again. Sets up for it and gets it. Very nice done. We'll collect his quote-unquote tree that is actually a feather in a second, as Xemsys is actually on deck for an interview, so we will pull him in a second to ask him how this went. GG to you, Xemsys. That was a very nice race to watch.
GG.
Thank you. That was some seed. Let's call it some seed.
Yeah, maybe let's start with the questions. Let's start at the beginning of the seed. What were your thoughts when, like, the 5th pickup of the seed happened to be the water vein?
I mean, water rain itself, I guess once I got sea jump, I kinda started thinking about early-ish Ginzo in that seed, but otherwise I'm just glad it was only the hunt for 1 dungeon key and not for 2.
Yeah, definitely. I also liked the spin of the seed to give you the water vein, then give you the water vein clue, then give you the Gumon seal, and then the Gumon seal clue. That was just very funny to watch. Also, the placement of the teleporters was definitely something in the seed. But going back to the early game again, you decided to go for a very hard energy glitch while being blind from a cutscene. Do you go for that often, or was that just a decision you had in your head at that point?
I mean, I generally do wall jump blind movement if possible. In this case, I realized I was on 3 energy and I thought, alright, I just give this 2 tries. I normally don't really do this, but hey, I got it first try and that was pretty nice.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
definitely.
very impressive. It's like pretty precise when you can see what you're doing. So being able to do it without seeing what you're doing is super impressive to me. Another play of yours that impressed me in the seed was that you went through the upper keystone door in Ginso to get the Ginso teleporter. Do you want to talk a bit about your decisions at that point?
Alright, so I'm still not quite sure how the logic for the bash pickup works in standard. I need to read this out later. But basically we had super early gain, so we only got a climb, which gets us a few more trees and a few more checks, but nothing really major. So at this point I thought, alright, there's a very high chance I will need to revisit Ginso later. Let's just get this out of the way. The 4 keystones kinda came back to haunt me throughout the entire seed, but in the end, glad I did that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We could see you waving around the keystone count going into Sorrow, just doing a bit more checks. So how relieved were you when you found that keystone in the Sorrow entry?
I guess it was pretty nice to find. If I didn't find it, I would have tubed on the lower Sorrow door, right in the left of the main shaft. That would have cost me, I think, half a minute to a minute, but nothing too major. I was way more scared about my keystone count when I just couldn't seem to find any keystones to get in Swarm for like 15 minutes.
I just want to chime in real quick. It looks like Terra is actually going for the Ginso escape. Found Wind Resort right above the pickup that was the Sunstone, and is now also heading to the other room. So he might actually go for that full escape in order to find some progression. He did not find that stomp as you did. He went to the grenade tree but didn't actually collect it. Just checked lower Blackroot. So we will see how he decides to go about this. Very interesting to watch. And actually, going back to your seat, you tried to skip the kill plane with that hyperspeed, didn't quite get it to work, but had a backup. How many different ways to skip that kill plane do you have in your inventory of tricks?
Totally honest, that was just some life science. I have never done this with a hyperspeed from this position. I just wanted to see if I can get it. My save was a bit late, so I didn't get a full hyperspeed, and I wouldn't have been able to climb up the wall anyway. But I thought I would just try, you know.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, well-
definitely fun to watch.
Definitely a very impressive performance. As we can see Terra doing the Ginso escape on the right, with water, not skipping out the water. This is always a treat to watch. Yeah, thank you for coming in, Xem. GG once again on winning this race. And oh yeah, I have one more question. How do you feel about how the tournament is going to progress? You're playing Infinite in the next seed. How do you feel about that matchup? And how do you feel about your chances going forwards in the tournament?
Oh god. So looking at the bracket, I think I got 4 to 5 very, very hard opponents in front of me. Infinite and I did one show match pretty much at the start of the prelims. That got pretty close, I think within 2 minutes. I definitely think Infinite is at least the top 5 runner in this tournament, so nerves are there, let's call it that way. But I think we're just gonna pull out a hype match.
It's definitely going to be hype. I'm seeing the two fight it out in the next round of the upper bracket.
Yeah, definitely very exciting. And if you want, you can just stay here and hang out with us, watching Terra finish his seed right here. He went through the entirety of Ginzo Escape, didn't find anything useful there, unfortunately, and is now heading back to Swamp. Let's see where he decides to go next. He actually, in comparison to you, found Charge Flame right above the pickup that right at the pickup above the spider lake. So he actually had a way to break blue things at the point relatively early on, whereas you never got that. So Terra has a few more checks to do.
Oh god,
Yeah.
I got scared about blue wreckage, but having that, very nice.
Oh yeah,
What does
you
Terra's-
had those two
No?
plants in the Ginso tree that were they worrying you?
Absolutely. I had no idea where blue wreckage was, and I would have probably guessed Toru. So,
Yeah.
Terra only needs the left side trees and the grenade tree, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's confused about the logic because left side access in form of stomp, logical left side access, was locked behind dash in logic. We can see one of the left side teleporters on the left side, so there has to be either dash somewhere on the right side or a Sorrow teleporter. And it seems like Terra was looking for those, but I think he's given up at this point, and he's just going to do the zombie into the grenade tree, I would assume.
Yeah, and he will be very confused and probably also happy to find that stomp. But yeah, this is very interesting in terms of logic anyway. This has been a seed. Let's call it that.
I don't think anybody can disagree with that assessment.
Yeah, he has 18 ability points, so this zombie won't be any trouble for him. He can just save however much he wants. Is now bashing the Spainling up. Oh, doesn't quite get it. It's very precise to bash up the Spainling because it has some very weird momentum and you have to be very careful. Gets it this time. Now has to skip this cutscene to, save some 8 years of his lifetime basically. As checking this one thing is just a keystone, so good backup save he did there with the save anywhere, and is now skipping the cutscene and will find his stomp in a second.
So yeah, it's really anybody's game, anybody's guess at this point where logical progression was. Probably Horu, I would assume, because it's always in Horu, I feel. But I don't think Terra cares at this point. He has left side access, which he got by doing a nice Frankie double bash onto the peg that you would normally activate with Stomp, and I think he's just going to head to the left and get the two remaining trees, the Misty tree and the Charge Flame tree, and I don't foresee him having much trouble with that, especially if he finds the double jump in the first pickup of Misty.
Yeah, that was actually an interesting placement as well. Like, you at this point, I believe, already had like triple jump skills and found the extra double jump. So I can assume that this was a big relief going into Sorrow.
Yes, definitely. So I think I got triple jump off the hyperspeed, and I was only at 8 trees, so luckily I had to kind of full clear Misty on my way for 3-9, so I got that. But looks like Terra does not feel like the rest of the seed, which I can 100% understand.
Yeah, definitely. Well, where was that progression? That is very interesting. We have some things going on about plants. There are some plants still in logic that Terra did not check, and possibly one of them held progression. I mean, at this point, they basically have to, because there wasn't too much left in logic that neither of you has checked. So, whew, definitely.
Yeah,
a
it's
seed.
either that or Horu, I feel, at this point. Because the Sunstone was accessible at the top of Ginso, so...
True that. True that. Yeah, in that case, either way, that was just a very hard to read seed and very, definitely a respectable decision from Terra to just forfeit this race. Anyway, even with this match done, there's a lot of Ori still left for the day. And yeah, you will face Infinite. Terra will face the winner of Rin versus Vesper, so that will be exciting as well. And as for today, there will be another match in just about an hour on the same SpeedGaming channel. This will be Aussie versus Didu, commented by me and Eiko. An hour after that, there will be Cleanfell versus Gecko on SpeedGaming 3, commentated by Sunny Muffin and Turtle. Then at 9 p.m. EDT, Evo versus Sarah Baron at SpeedGaming at this channel, commentated by Jay Halcyon and Ruse. And then for the last match of today at 11 p.m. also on this channel, Jay Halcyon himself will race versus Rufus, commentated by Poogle and Turtle. So definitely a lot of races to check out for the day. However, this was it for today for this match. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and see you around.
Thanks, Tukil, for commentating with me. Thank you to Infinite and the person who died for helping us with tracking what's been going on behind the scenes. Thank you to Fox for being our broadcaster for today. And thank you and everybody out there for watching. Have a good day and enjoy the other remaining 4 matches today.